Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If sorrow is intrinsic to the nature of I, the self, it cannot be removed, because that which is intrinsic means it is there, it is inherent. Wherever you should see I, there should be sorrow. But that's not the case. In sleep there is no sorrow, and when I am contented there is no sorrow. Even if I haven't fulfilled a desire, there is some contentment. If I see the sunrise, sunset, when I see some smile of a small child, there is no sorrow. So this itself gives us a little hope that I refuse to accept the sorry state of affairs. Anything that is sad, I refuse to accept. Number one. And number two, that there is what is called in Sanskrit as vyabhichara. Vyabhichara means there is a certain going and coming. About the nature of the sorrow, there is a contradiction. It seems to be aligned to the self, but then in sleep it's gone. When I am happy, it is not there. So the question is, where is this sorrow located? So it can't be located in the self, because if it is located in the self, and the self should be always sad. And like I said yesterday, we should be happy feeling sad. But we are not. Okay, then we have to say sorrow is outside. Outside means what? Is it like the common cold germs? You go there, you go to some place and you catch it, Is it like that? That also doesn't seem right. Because even if a person goes to a funeral, because everybody is crying, that's why I'm giving the example of funeral. Go to the funeral, sab log ro rahe hain, everybody is crying, crying, crying. But just before this person goes, the person finds out that they have won the Maryland lottery. And then they have to go to the funeral. Are they sad? Because everything is sad outside? In fact, they are trying very hard not to smile and to keep the decorum of the situation. Somehow they get through the funeral, correct? So this itself shows that it's not outside, it's not catching, so to speak. And neither can I get myself inoculated, Now there are drive-through, what is that called? Flu shots. You just drive through with one arm and the other arm you stick out of the window. And so, can you have like sorrow shots? Shots to inoculate you against sorrow? It doesn't matter, it doesn't happen. So obviously there is something funny about this. So it's neither inside nor outside, it is not the nature of the self. Then how come I get sad? How come I am subject to sorrow? This itself is a mystery. Because sorrow is an impostor to the self. It's not real, because I want to be happy, that's what everyone wants. And it's not unreal, because there is such a thing called sorrow. So it comes under the category of all the other things that we have come to love, called mithya. Really. It's all mithya. Mithya means dependent reality. It is dependent on the I. Like I gave you the example of the light casting the shadow. So too, the I, the Atma, is bright enough to have a shadow. It just brings the shadow to light. It's not affected by the shadow. And Narada doesn't know this. And so Narada has done, the sage Narada, we stopped yesterday there, has done a lot of, has taken a lot of measures to overcome this sorrow. In fact, people everywhere take a lot of measures to overcome the sorrow. Some people go from malls and to balls. This is what their way of overcoming the sorrow. They fill up the void by, what did I say yesterday? Avoiding, you know. So there are many ways of avoiding. One is to get so busy and have a lot of distractions. And sometimes people help other people compulsively. They just go, keep on doing things for others. And they feel good that they are doing seva. When what really they need is seva themselves. They're, to address this sorrow. It's this compulsive seva. Seva is good, but where you don't really focus on yourself, you're always busy doing something or the other. It's better than the malls and the balls, but it's still a problem. Then there are certain people who go totally into the mind. What do? They want to just study. It's called academia. And that's what they go into. They just study. One degree is not enough, then another pedigree and the third degree and this and that. And they keep doing research and then, how many PhDs, how many gold medals, and still they'll keep on studying. And sometimes they get obsessed with one thing. There was one person who used to study bats. You know bats? Yes. And his name was Bhatnagar. But in this country, how will they say? Bhatnagar. Yeah. And you couldn't have any conversation with this man. You couldn't have any other conversation. Within 30 seconds, any conversation would be back to bats. Yes. So anybody talking to him would be driven batty, in a matter of a minute. It was all about bat, because that's all his mind was. How they eat, what they do, why they hang upside down, and how cute the babies are, and and he had even saved some babies and given them little milk in feeding bottles, all kinds of things he had done. But he was just completely, his life was given over to bats. And that is another way of avoidance, And sometimes people have a very interesting way of avoidance. They think they are going into it, and they just become collectors of spiritual, what is that called, spiritual, books, lectures. They keep going from one lecture to another. Because really they cannot sit still and their mind is sattvic, so they're not interested in balls and malls. So, they just go from one swami to another. That's the only thing, And so it doesn't matter, regardless of one's pursuit, it just shows that this aberration, that I am subject to sorrow, where is this sorrow and how am I able to free myself from this sorrow? That is not happening. That is not being addressed. In fact, it is being drowned out. And we have Narada. It's very clear from the story of Narada which path he has taken for avoiding. What is the path?
Traveling.
Going from place to place, you can say. But no, not really that. More than that, he has developed the mind. Yeah. He has become an academic. He is an expert in everything. And such a person is seen as an adhikari in the Upanishad to go and help us understand, to stand as an example to help us understand a very important point. And what is that? No matter how much you study, no matter who you are, no matter where you go, no matter how much you know, if you don't know the self, you will still be sad. This is what he is there to illustrate as an extraordinary, exemplary person, to exemplify this fact that there are two kinds of ignorances. One is called Anatma Ajnanam. Ajnanam means what? Ignorance. Ignorance of things other than myself. Really speaking, there are two things in the world. Me and not yet not me. Correct? Me and not me. Atma, me. Not me. Anatma. Only two things, any which way you look at it. And so who is this me? The one who relates to not me is me. And so there are two kinds of ignorances. I have ignorance about I, correct? I don't know who I am. Shastra tells me you are whole, you are Brahman. Who is this Brahman? I don't know. Who am I? I don't know. It's not going to help. The one who says I don't know who I am is not helped by listening you are Brahman unless it's all explained. So that is self-ignorance. And then you have Anatma. What is that? Not me. So you have me ignorance and then you have not me ignorance. Not me ignorance is of the whole Jagat. Like I don't know astrophysics, I don't know Greek, I don't know Chinese, I don't know, so many languages. All this is not me ignorance. I don't know if other planets have life or not. And I don't know if they are better developed than us. And in the American, psyche, either they colonize us or we colonize them. There's no other option. You can't think of going and tying Rakhi to the people of another planet. That's not an option at all. There's no friendship, there's no connection. It's either they are worried that this may be so far ahead of us, this whatever civilization we are going to find, that they are going to just swallow us up like one galaxy swallows the other galaxy, or they may be lowly creatures, who are pre-linguistic, who point to the mouth when they want food, and these kinds of people. And then we can easily colonize them. And then the earth, we have already, messed up because global warming, and it rains when it shouldn't, and when it should rain, it doesn't, and then all kinds of things, and it's all the ice banks are melting fast. So then what? Then we will have one more planet to go to after desecrating this one. But what about those people who are pointing to their mouths? We'll just shut them up. We put them in a cage, and then we'll live over there. This is what we have done, this is what we did with the Native Americans, this is what we did with everybody. We can do this there also. So these are the only two collective imaginations, nothing else. But the point is, I still don't know. I have that other planet, not me, other planetary existence and life, not me. I don't know. I have so much not me ignorance. And the not me ignorance keeps on dropping, but the not me being infinite. And I'll tell you why later. Because not me is really me. If me is infinite, not me is also infinite. Yeah. So the not me being infinite, infinitely broken up into names and forms and names and forms and names and forms and names and forms, names and forms and names and forms. I have to stop saying this because, yeah, we have only 2 more lectures. And so, all this infinite number of names and forms. So the not me ignorance keeps dropping, even though you never know the whole world of not me ever. The not me ignorance keeps dropping because you're studying, you're listening to the news, you're reading the things in the internet, you're watching videos. What kind of videos? Those that have a virus in them, viral videos. Virus means other people have also watched, that is the virus. So you're watching all these videos and you're getting more and more jnana. What kind of jnana? Not me jnana. That is also jnanam. But it is not me jnana. It is jnana of the Jagat and its related things. So if you go to school, you have, geography ignorance drops, civics ignorance drops, history ignorance drops, except Indian history. We are still ignorant of Indian history. because somebody else has written our history. That's the problem. So, all the ignorances drop. But when does the not me ignorance drop? Which standard, which grade I should be in for the not me ignorance to drop? Huh? Does it drop in school, middle school, elementary school, high school, college, PhD? It never drops. You can become an Einstein. It never drops. Oh, then what I should do? I have to choose to know. Other things I just pick up. This I have to choose to know. And how to choose to know? By stopping avoiding. And this is exactly what happened to Narada. He just, he was very learned. Everybody revered him. He was a sage, a saint. Not just a sage, but also a saint. A saint is someone who has a lot of vairagya, dispassion. And we know from the story in the Ramayana that Valmiki, that was not his name before, Nishada or something, Hunter, his name was. I don't even remember what his name was, but anyhow, so he caught him while he was going from one village to another, crossing the forest. And he said, "Stand and deliver, I will tie you to a tree." And he tied him to a tree. He snatched his jhola. What was there? 2 chapatis, which somebody had packed. And he threw them at his face. He said, "Where is the gold? I don't have any gold. Where is the money? I don't have any money. What kind of an idiot are you? They call me Narada." And then he tells him, what you're doing is really wrong. Very wrong. So, from that story we know that he's not interested in possessions. If he has a possession, it is his veena, that's all. He just sings and he goes from place to place, but don't think of him as a beggar or a mendicant, because he is very, very, very learned. And he has a free pass for all the lokas, and everybody is very happy, extraterrestrial pass. So if you pray to him, he can tell us what the life in other planets is like. No problem, because he can go there. So such an exalted soul goes to Sanat Kumara, who was taught directly by Adiguru Dakshinamurti. And he says many things. It's very beautiful, that opening, talk. He says, well, I have heard that there is this thing called Brahman. I know everything else. So this is the only thing that I don't know. So I'd like to know this. I know a lot of things, but I don't know the main and only thing because of which other things are existent. He himself says that. So please teach me about Brahman. Sanat Kumara, knows what is what, but he wants to hear from Narada himself. Should he start the Vedanta class at Vedanta 001, Vedanta 101, 201, 301, postdoc Vedanta, graduate level Vedanta? What should he do? Where should he begin? Where should he begin the Vedanta? He should know. So he says, you first, O Narada, you first tell me what you know, and then I will speak. And Narada starts rattling off all the things he knows. Remember, each thing constitutes an avoidance. Each thing constitutes a coping mechanism. Because otherwise one would be moping if one is not coping. So therefore it's better to cope than to mope. So thinking, he has filled himself with all kinds of not me jnanam. Not me, not me, not me, not me, not me. Not me, 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 not me. He has filled up his whole life with not me jnanam. And he starts talking about everything. What does he say? I know Rig Veda. It's not easy to say I know Rig Veda, okay? Yeah. People say, Rig Shaka Dhyayi, I am a student of Rig Veda. They may know one mantra, Gayatri mantra, they think they know the whole thing. No. Rig Veda is a huge compendium. If you start chanting it now, and you go for 40 days, you will still not run out of mantras to chant. That is Rig Veda. He says, I know Rig Veda. Oh, very impressive. I know Yajur Veda. That's another big compendium. Each thing to study properly, each Veda takes 12 years. So 12 plus 12. You keep, I'll keep on telling you how many years and you keep adding, okay? There'll be a quiz afterwards. Without the use of the phone. Yeah. I know Rig Veda. I know Yajur Veda. I know Sama Veda. I know Atharva Veda. I know Shiksha. I know Kalpa. I know Vyakaranam. I know Jyotisham. I know Niruktam. I know this. I know that. All the things I know. Many, 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 many things I know. Each thing takes 6 years, okay? 12 years. The Upavedas take 6 years. So, each Veda takes 4 years. So, he says, I am a Chaturvedi. Yeah. Nowadays, nobody is a Chaturvedi. Only surname is Chaturvedi. Yeah. Only surname is Chaturvedi. And the person who says, my name is Chaturvedi, only the name is Chaturvedi. They don't know the Vedas. They don't know at all the Vedas actually. Who is Chaturvedi? Somebody in the ancestors, somebody had studied all the Vedas, and so they are riding on the coattails of that Mahatma. And Trivedi, Dvivedi, all these things, nobody knows. Even to study one Veda takes a whole lifetime. What to talk about 2 Vedas, 3 Vedas, 4 Vedas. Not possible. But he doesn't stop there. He says, I know Shiksha. Shiksha means the art of pronunciation, how to pronounce properly. Sanskrit is not like English. PUT is what? What is PUT? Put, right? But PUT is what? But. How? Why? We don't know. English is a crazy language. But Sanskrit is not like that. If PUT is put, BUT will also be but. It will not be cut or cut or like that. It won't be like but or cut. It cannot be like that. But English is very arbitrary. But Sanskrit, all the pronunciations matter. Everything matters. It's very, very important. And so therefore what, he says, I know Shiksha. I know the art of pronunciation. I can pronounce everything correctly. We got full marks in all his exams. Who? Narada. Sage Narada. Then what does he say? He says, I know Kalpa. What is Kalpa? How to do fire rituals. We think that we can just put some fire and start putting ghee. That's not it. In fact, if you do things wrongly, wrong results will come. Yeah. I went to Ohio one time and they had a fire ritual. It was a Native American fire ritual. And they also had rules. Somebody was trying to put paper and the head person said, no, you can't just put, this is not an offering. You can't just put whatever you like. So too in our fire rituals, you can't put whenever you like, whatever you like, you just, dal diya. No. In fact, for certain yajnas, you have to offer from the left. For certain yajnas, you have to offer from the right. And for certain yajnas, you offer right in the middle. And some yajnas, you put only ghee. Some yajnas will take only the juice of soma leaves. Soma is an extinct plant. Yeah, because it had some kind of a addictive quality, People overused it and it's now extinct. Then certain yajnas take only coconut. All these things are there. How to remember all this? That takes another 6 years to study all this. He studied that. Shiksha kalpam. Then what? Vyakaranam. What is Vyakaranam? Huh? Grammar. He didn't say Vyakarna, Kya karna, why should I do this? No. He studied it completely. He studied the whole Vyakaran, Shastra, and then what, Niruktam. Niruktam is the first thesaurus in ancient Indian history. वो भी जानते थे. He knew what is the paryayvachi shabd, all the synonyms, all the antonyms, everything he knew. He knew very well everything. And then what? Chandas meter, Gayatri meter. Gayatri meter is what? 24 syllables. All this he knew. Then what did he know? He also knew Jyotisham. What is Jyotisham? Yeah. How to study the horoscope. Yeah. How to study one's horoscope, because that's really what it is. Full of horrors of all the planet and their wrong positions in my chart. Yeah. Shani is oppressing from above. Shukra is not blessing from below, and all these things, Then if I look at the horoscope, I see why Vedanta is not coming to me. So all these things, that's just a joke. Vedanta is not according to the horoscope. But, at least you can say why the Vittam, why I'm not having money. That you can tell in the horoscope, And because Shukra means Venus. Venus is in the wrong place. When? Always. Or sometimes the Venus is in the correct place, but then it is flanked by adversarial planets. Okay? And then there is another thing, They say that Venus is in a very good place, but you have something called Khemadruma Yoga. This Khemadruma Yoga is very interesting because it's like one side moon and one side sun and nothing, no other planets in between, So this is, all the planets are in between the moon and the sun. Such a person becomes a tyagi, even if the person has a lot of money, they will give it away. Or something will happen, it's locked in a bank account they cannot use, like that. So he knew all the things about the horoscope. Actually, Jyotisham is a cross between astronomy and astrology. He knew astronomy, he knew astrology, and then he doesn't even stop to take a breath. Narada Muni continues, he says, I know Astra Vidya, how to throw things at people, Astra, Asanat Trayate, the Astra, missiles. So the knowledge of missiles is called Astra. And Shastra means weapons. Yeah. Weapons that you have to train, See, the Ramayana war was only fought with Astras. Yeah. One Asura would pick up another Asura and throw him at the third Asura. That was the weaponry. That is how it was. And then, then what? He knew Astra, Shastra, and he also says, I know singing. I know music. Visharat, not just I know how to do some, small ragas. No. Complete PhD in music. He says, although you don't see me, I also know how to dance. Yeah. You think I only make people dance. Even I know how to dance, he says. I know singing, I know dancing, I know cooking, he says. And then I know also Dhanur Vidya, archery. I know accounting. I know everything. And then I know Nakshatra Vidya, Ayurveda, Yoga, Surya Namaskara, everything. Now we have two kinds of yoga. One yoga without Surya Namaskara and one yoga with both the kinds I know. One yoga special for International Yoga Day and another yoga connected with the sutras. Both of them I know. And he doesn't even stop. Sanat Kumara says, okay, I think I got your idea. But then he says, even though I know all these things, the funny thing is despite getting PhD in all these subjects, Soham Bhagavaha, Soham means what? Soham doesn't mean I am that Brahman. Soham means Hoham. I am a boring person to myself, you know. Yeah. He doesn't mean to say Soham, as in I am Bhagavan. No. He says I am this humdrum, Hoham fellow. And then what? Shochami, he says quietly. Because you see, the more famous you are, you cannot study Vedanta. Yeah. They cannot come and sit in class. Because then other people will think, oh, that means you also don't know. It's like when I had to take somebody to Alcoholics Anonymous. So I went, this was when I was living in Georgia. I went to AA with this person and there were many people I knew. And they said, oh, Swaminiji, you also have this problem. आपको भी ये प्रॉब्लम है हमें नहीं पता था oh, you also have this problem, how come? Then they saw the other person, they said, okay. So like this, the thing is that, it's all in the, he says, Soham Bhagavaha Shochami, even though I know all this, I'm subject to grief. He says, that's why I had to wait. This is just my imagination. That's why I had to wait. I couldn't come and sit in your Vedanta class. Why not? Because, everybody cannot see me there. I have a reputation to upkeep. So I quietly waited behind the door for everybody to leave. And then I crept inside and I'm now saying, Soham Bhagavaha Shochami, very quietly. Shochami means I'm subject to sadness. Even I have bouts of depression after knowing so much, so many PhDs. And then Sanat Kumara laughs very compassionately. He's not laughing at him, he just laughs. He says, you know why you have this problem? You have this problem because everything that you know is not me. Anatma. You are not Atmavid. Because what is the saying of our talk here? Atmavid Shokam Tarati. The knower of Atma crosses sorrow. Anatmavid. Therefore what? Shokam Natarati. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Anatmavid doesn't cross Shoka. Anatmavid swims in Shoka. Yes. The Anatmavid thinks, the one who doesn't know Atma, what do they think? They think that I have to keep on getting more things. In other words, the one who has too much knowledge of not I, in the sad, sorrowful waters of samsara, they try to get by learning the backstroke, how to negotiate the samsaric waters, how to stay afloat. I want a better lifeboat. I want a better flotation device. I want to, because I'm a driftwood, I'm a piece of driftwood, float Sam, jet Sam. Yeah, that's why the name is also Sam. And what to do? So what I can do is just keep afloat. And in the process of keeping afloat, I have to just, do a few things and keep my strength up. And the strength is going down, so I take vitamins. And then the vitamins work. Everything works only for a little while. Yeah, all medicines, work for a little while. So then I take the medicines in order to keep the strength up, so I can just keep bobbing up and down in the sad, tearful waters of samsara. And then what happens? Then I go glub, glub, glub again, and then come up for air, and then go glub, glub, glub again. This is what is my condition. This is what the whole condition is. And this is why I need help. And Narada was astute enough to know I need help. And Sanat Kumara explains that you know a lot, Narada. You know a lot of nothing. Oh, at least I know a lot of nothing. How much is a lot of nothing? Nothing. How much is little bit of nothing? Nothing. And for someone who is a Chaturvedi and who has so much knowledge, to be told you know nothing, is a big, what is that? It's a big shock. First he had shoka, now he has a shaka, Yeah. So now it's a big shock. You mean all those years I spent gaining this and that was all useless? Yes, because it is anatma. How? How can you say that? Because it's all in a name only. What you know is, why do you say, I know nothing? I say you know nothing because all the things that you know are in name alone. Because, if you know cup, cup is a name, correct? Cup is a name attached to what? A particular form called cup. Flower, flower again is a name, you know? This one is what? Rose. Correct? So this is what I say, this is rose and this is a flower. It's a name that I associate with this particular kind of a flower, with this particular kind of fragrance. Actually, most of the time, right, yeah. Because we have preferred the form over the fragrance. So it look perfect like this, very perfect looking, but no fragrance. But still we recognize it as rose. And so this is flower. Flower means what? Flower really is, actually this is anatma. Why do we say this is anatma? Because it falls apart. And you cannot categorically say what is the flower. Is this the flower? No? Is this the flower? It's falling apart anyway, so one I will pluck. Is this flower? What is this? Petal. And then is this flower? What is this? Leaf. Yeah, very good. Is this flower? Is this flower? What is this? Yeah. And then is this flower, whatever is inside? This stamens. That also has a name. Then what really is flower? No, you put it all together. Okay, I have taken it apart, you sit and put it together. Can you put it together? No. Really speaking, the flower has fallen apart right in front of our eyes. This is Indian magic. We don't need to make things disappear. While holding the flower, I can make it disappear. While holding it in full view of everyone, this is just a name flower to a particular thing called the flower. That is what it is. Come. This is what it is. You can have this. Now you hold it over here. Yeah, upar. Ah, very good. So this is what the flower is. It's just a name and a form, and the form keeps changing. Even though the name is rose, the form keeps changing. Yeah. Rose, the form keeps changing. Every day it looks a little sad. Every day it looks a little wilted. And on the 5th day, it has cast all of its petals. It's no longer rose. And then what? The petals go and nourish the ground. And then another tree comes, another bush comes, another rose comes. So it's this constant thing of, endings. Constant, finite world. A world that is infinitely finite. You seem to have mastered, O Narada, the sage, the teacher here, Sanat Kumara says. What you know is nothing. You just know name and you know form. You don't know what makes a rose a rose. But what is this thing called rose? All that is there is, correct? Yeah. Is. Because you say flower is means what? Flower exists. So the existence of the flower doesn't belong to the flower, we saw that. It belongs to something else. As is illustrated in the Vedantic example, what is a tree? You can say that which has the quality called treeness, vrikshatvam, vrikshata. So that which has vrikshata is a vrikshaha, vrikshatvam, vrikshata, treeness. So where is this treeness? Is it in the tree? No, because I am saying that which has treeness is a tree. So the treeness is an attribute of the tree. It cannot be in the tree because if it is qualifying tree, it has to be what? How can it be outside the tree? But that's how it is. It sustains the tree It sustains the name called tree, it sustains the form called tree, and this is what we call treeness. So Sanat Kumara explains, whatever you know, the knowledge is in name only. He sends him away. He says, you go for a few days, you meditate upon what is Nama and come back. And then Narada comes back and he says, Nama is just Nama. You know, because I am the one who has given the name. I means anybody else, whoever called it rose, it's a person. I am the one who has given the name. And I am the one who is given the name. So Sanat Kumara then says, many namas, one Nami. Nami means the one who is the wielder of the Nama. One Nami, many Namas. Many Anatmas, one Atma. So really speaking, what you are doing is creating a distance between you and Anatma. You are trying to conquer the not I, not I, not I. You are trying to conquer it and make it your own. And in so doing, there is a separation, correct? Because I want to become one with this, so that's why I'm thinking it's separate from me. That's what everything happens. Everything is like this. You want to master a subject because it's separate from you. And then having conquered that, you find that it's not helping you to overcome sorrow. Why? Because that's not its job. And also it is not separate from you. You're seeing it as separate from you. This separation is what causes anxiety. This separation is the cause of your sorrow. Then he sends him. Another time, focus on Rupa, focus on mind, which projects the Nama Rupa, focus on Prana, focus on the 5 elements, focus on everything. He just takes him through this whole gamut. And then he says, Narada says, okay, even this is not satisfying. Now I know that the mind is at the center of this naming process. The mind is the one that is categorically saying, this is Atma, this is Anatma, this is this is that. And because of this, I'm making a distance between myself and everything else. I see that. But is there something greater than the mind? And is there something greater than, all this? What is this that I'm looking for? Then finally, towards the end of the chapter, chapter 7, Sanat Kumara says something very beautiful. He says, there is one more thing. And what is that? He says, it is called Bhuma. Bhuma. Not Bhumi, Bhuma. And he says, what is this Bhuma? Because the same thing which in the Taittiriya Upanishad is called Brahman, here in the Chandogya Upanishad is called Bhuma. What is this Bhuma, he says? He says Bhuma is that which is not small. Very interesting definition. And then he says, Bhuma is that which is the opposite of sorrow. What is the opposite of sorrow? Happiness. Yat Bhuma tat sukham. That which is called Bhuma is alone the cause of happiness. There is no other happiness outside of Bhuma. And that is what you are seeking. But what do you know? Whatever you know is alpam. Alpam here means nothing. So small that it's nothing. Yad alpam tat na sukham. So what is small is not really happiness. Smallness is not happiness. Yad alpam tat martyam. That which is small, that which is anatma, is finite. Martyam means subject to death. Subject to finitude. And you have an infinite collection of the finite. Oh Narada, how can you be happy? What you have done is you have collected the finite things. Infinitely you have collected the finite. You have focused your whole life on a huge collection of the finite things and finite bodies of knowledge, and therefore you are not able to be happy. And this is why you are suffering. This is why you are in what is called shoka. So shoka is because you are making a separation between yourself and another. But how to not make the separation? Separation is already there, correct? Separation is definitely there. I can't say everything is one and all is one and one is all. That doesn't make sense either. So this separation is there. What should I do about it? Narada asks. And Sanat Kumara says something very beautiful. He says that you have to go back and contemplate upon the mind which is causing this separation, and see both the separation and the mind as belonging to the same order of reality, which is not the absolute. Yad alpam tad martyam. Whatever you know is alpam, and whatever this anatma is, it is not going to lead you to happiness. And then he asks another question. Where is this Bhuma? Because naturally, if I am told Bhuma is going to save me, and Bhuma is going to help me be what? Free of sorrow. And if I am told Bhuma is my only hope, then naturally I want to know Kidhar bhai, Kidhar hai, what is this Bhuma? Where is it located? Sanat Kumara again laughs and says, it is not located in anything. Because if it is located in something, like how the sweet is located in a dabba, it's not like that. Sweet means happiness. So, it's like you put the gulab jamun in a container. It's not like this Bhuma is sitting inside a container, because then it will be contained by that in which it exists. This is something we have to understand. So if Bhuma is equal to happiness, if it's the name for happiness, and if we are talking about crossing sorrow, where is this Bhuma? The question to be asked, if we say Bhuma is in a particular place, in a particular time, in a particular situation, then, we run into a problem. And what is that problem? You try to contain the limitless, which cannot be contained at all. And so that's why many people are confused here, and they think this Brahman is one more experience. Yet one more experience, yet one more piece of knowledge, yet one more thing. And who is approaching Brahman or Bhuma? The hopeless, hapless, helpless. Who? Jiva. Yes. And the Jiva is upset, and the Jiva says, okay, I'll have Brahman on the side, because nothing else has helped. Let me have a helping of Brahman. Let me have Bhuma on the side and see if it works. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because I'm approaching Bhuma like I approach all other things as one more thing in the universe. In fact, it is the thing, because when I say flower is, pot is, flower pot is, room is, door is, window is, the is belongs to Bhagavan, is belongs to Ishvara. That's why the first two letters of Ishvara is I-S, is. Yeah, that's how to remember. It's all is. And that is only one is, which is manifest as everything, both is and isn't. Is only is. This is all it is. And so if I don't know this, then I make the mistake of seeing everything as anatma, separate from me, and trying to be one with them. I can't, because I'm focusing on the name and the form. I can't be one with all the names and forms. And so I'm left unhappy, because I feel I am not half the universe. I'm not. And anatma overpowers atma if it is not understood properly. Because atma, I think, is only one, me. And anatma is so many. And so in any given moment, so many things I have, to be worried about, to be sad about, to be afraid of. Tiger, anatma, lion, anatma, scary. Bank balance, definitely anatma, cause of sorrow. Credit card balance, anatma, cause of sorrow. And then what else? Somebody who's not talking to me, friends, etc. Anatma, cause of sorrow. Somebody who is talking to me, but I don't want them to talk to me, cause of sorrow. This is what it is. The anatma overpowers the I because it seems to be too much. Too many things. Wherever I look, it is anatma, anatma. So therefore I ask the question, where is atma? This atma here is called bhuma, which really cannot be translated. It just is a very subtle thing. And purposely he has used this because, each time you use the word atma, Brahman, Bhagavan, the person is very jaded. This is for the jaded jiva, jaded, faded jiva, who finally comes to the instruction and, फिर से Brahman bolo, so he will sleep off. Because Brahman, the word he or she has associated with the chorus of a lullaby, Now, because I've told you, the best sleep comes in Vedanta classes, nowhere else. Yeah. Best sleep. This is Bhagavan Krishna's blessings, really. Yeah, Bhagavan Krishna blesses Nidra Devi, and because she says, where will I go? These fellows are so restless in Kali Yuga. They are going on all the way. They don't even sleep. I don't have a place to stay. As soon as I stay, this fellow wakes up and goes to work. And then I think, he will go to sleep at night, but he thinks he's an owl and he's up all night. What should I do? Where is my place? And Bhagavan Krishna, because of his mercy and compassion, says, just go to Harikatha, just go to all the places where, Bhagavan is talked about, Ishvara is talked about, Vedanta is talked about. There no one will disturb you. And to this day, that blessing of Bhagavan Krishna works very well. So if you're suffering from insomnia, come to Vedanta class. Because teacher will not wake you up, unless you're the only person. I mean, if you're the only person, teacher will get up and walk away. Put a pillow behind your head and walk away. Yeah. And the other students will also not wake you up. Because they are also sleeping, not any other reason. So, so Brahman, the word, is so common, and even though nobody understands the meaning, still somehow I feel like I've been there, I've done that, I know it. इसमें क्या रखा है Brahman? ये समझ आने वाली बात थोड़ी है. Some people say इसमें क्या रखा है? And some people say, oh, this is not something I can understand. It's okay. In either case, time to sleep. So you switch off. So therefore the Upanishad to keep the thing going, keeps changing the words. And changes the gender also. Like for example in the Kathopanishad, the Upanishad will say, Purushat na param kinchit. There is nothing greater than Purusha. Purusha means name for Bhagavan. And then he changes Lord Yama changes the gender. Sa kashtha sa paragatihi. She is the ultimate goal. She is the me. I thought it was he, and now he became she. How did he become she? It's not some kind of transgender experience, but it is transcending gender. It's not transgender. Yeah, actually the word transgender is also means that, transcending gender. Because you cannot say Bhuma is male, Bhuma is female, Brahman is, Ishvara is male, female. We don't have that. That's why all our Bhagavans are happily married. You say female, you say male, it's all one and the same. They're always together. Maker and material, we talk about it together. And so to hear Bhuma, he says, is something you need to know. You need to know as yourself, as the truth of yourself. And he says, where is this Bhuma? He says, first he says, it is not located anywhere before, because if it is located somewhere, the dabba in which the Bhuma resides will become bigger than Bhuma, correct? But Bhuma here is the most limitless, biggest thing there is. And it happens to be you. It is located wherever you are located. No, but I am here sitting in my house, you can say. That's just your body and mind sitting in the house. Where are you? You know, you are that which is in the house, but which is also outside the house, because you sit in the house and think outside of the house. You've already gone out of the house. You sit in the house and think of Africa, zebras and giraffes. You've gone there, correct? With the help of the mind. You sit in the house and think of galaxies. You've gone there. So, really speaking, what is there is that you who think you are trapped in this body, mind, sense complex is actually you are sarvagaha, all pervasive. So when I say you, Sanat Kumara says, I'm not talking of you as the one who is identified with the body, mind, sense complex. In fact, that is alone the cause of sorrow. When I say you, I mean you are the one who is everywhere. Sarvagaha. And this Bhuma is the definition of you, and this is not located anywhere. Or you can say, he gives two other choices. Or you can say, it is located in its own glory. A very beautiful Sanskrit word. Sve mahimni tishtati. It is located in its own glory. It's glorious. It is not located in anything as anything. It is located in its own glory. Then he gives an example. Suppose you find a person who is well-to-do, financially. In those days, well-to-do means they had a nice house, they had cows, cattle was wealth. They had cattle, they had, what else? Lot of ghee and milk, and they had gold coins, because gold was the, that's how we got the gold standards, Vedic, gold coins they had, lot of cattle and wealth, and they also had security in terms of family members who cared for them, lots of children, lots of grandchildren, a kind of a parivar, a family that was well taken care of, happy with itself, and was well supported financially, economically, emotionally, materially, in all ways. And you can say that that person is supported. So they have the family members, ashraya, support. They have the family, they have the financial support. And they have the, material support, house, cattle, etc. They have the economical support. And supposing they are close to the king, they have political clout and support. So such a person, if they say, how did they get to this place? You can say they are located in so many sources of support. But Bhuma, it doesn't have family. Bhuma is not dependent on gold coins. Bhuma is not having cattle. Bhuma doesn't need to have, big house. Bhuma doesn't need to have gold coins. Nothing. Bhuma itself is so full, so complete, and it happens to be the definition of you. The problem is that you are looking at things as objects. All anatma you deal with is just an object, object after object after object. You have forgotten to see the subject. Bhuma is the very subject. You can't say where is it located. You have to say what is located in it. That's a better question. And so, that is the question. You have to rephrase the question. What does it include? You cannot say, well, where is it? Or what is included in it? In fact, this Bhuma is the world of Anatma, is Bhuma. But what about Atma? If Bhuma is one and only thing, Atma is also what? Bhuma. But how can Atma and Anatma both, me and not me, how can they both be Bhuma? For that you have to come tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadagya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Any questions are there? We can talk about that. So
Yeah,
you could
Kristen,
come.
I just wanted to, this is how I think about the bridge here. And I am sure everybody thinks that the bridge is the one which gives chaya,
Yeah.
fruits,
Yes.
and depending on the kind of bridge here.
Right.
So you brought the similarity of Bricha with
Goma.
Huma. Okay.
Goma is that which includes everything, accommodates everything, includes everything, and is not outside of anything. That's why you cannot say what is it in. You know, it is not located and nothing is located in it. Everything is as though located in it. That's what we'll see tomorrow. Yeah, good point. Other questions?
So the name Bhuma, I think, because my friend's name is Bhuma, BH4MA, that is actually means it's like
It means the infinite. Infinite self is called Bhuma. Name for the infinite self. Okay? Yeah. Something is there to give?
come and get prasad.